Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four College Football Podcast. Let's get right into things with a reaction to Michigan beating Penn State. This slide will focus on Michigan. What are your thoughts?
Okay, before I start, I'd like to report that I will be reporting the rankings as they come in during the podcast. And despite being upset originally that we were going to do this game in between the very important opener for Michigan, they are up by like 40 points right now. So it doesn't matter. But as for the football team, this is a great win. This is a great program win. It was good to blow out this team. This is a football team that, if you look at our wins, you look at Wisconsin, Northwestern, Michigan State, this would be number 4 on that list of wins.
I would put Rutgers over this one. If you win at Rutgers.
Rutgers is the biggest rivalry in the Big Ten. All right, well, Luke, you cannot say anything because we're in first place. I can't say anything because you're in first place. Yes. I haven't been telling you that for the last 6 years. I've been telling you that for the last 100 years. 100 years? Yeah. Almost 100 years. That's why we won 14 out of the last 15? Yeah. Well, aside from the last 15 years. So the last 100 years, but minus the last 15 years. Yes. Yeah. Just want to make that clear. Ohio State fans say don't live in the past, and they always quote what's happened in the last 15 years. Doesn't make any sense. You're the one who just quoted the last 100 years. No, live in the present. All right, you're delusional.
Okay.
So what's new? The very good win by Michigan. Penn State's kind of falling apart after losing to Ohio State. They kind of fall apart. So I wasn't surprised that they blew them out. I was surprised by how much they blew them out.
That doesn't make much sense.
I will keep this brief because I know Mike has some positive things to say about Penn State and their coaching staff.
No, this one's about Michigan. Next slide's about Penn State.
Oh, okay. Well, then I thought it was a very good win. I'm glad they didn't give up. I'm glad they had vengeance in this game.
What do you mean give up? What would Michigan give up when they're winning?
No. I'm talking about maybe give up, maybe a late touchdown. Maybe a little bit. Dude, they kept watching. They kept on the whole game. All right.
Well, Michigan was okay in this game. They weren't great. There were plenty of opportunities for Penn State to win the game, and they couldn't do it. Michigan added on in the second half, so that's all I have to say about Michigan. Now focus on Penn State side of things.
James Franklin he's playing out not a good football coach. And, oh boy. We have some breaking news here in the Big Four Podcast. It's a 3-point game of the Champions Classic with 35 seconds left.
All right, this is a football podcast. Keep going.
Well, doesn't matter. You wrote them off. You wrote your team off.
No, anyway, I can't watch the game. I'm doing this.
Chris, you said Michigan was up by 40 points. They haven't even scored 40 points. Well, they're basically up by 40 points. 23, but whatever. All right, well, anyway, James Franklin's a bad football coach, and he needs to be on the hot seat immediately. He hasn't beaten anybody. He doesn't win big games. Trace McSorley was underwhelming in this game, but he was hurt.
So, come on.
So I just don't think Penn State's very good, and I don't think James Franklin's a good football coach. That's the bottom line. Listen, James Franklin said it himself. Michigan State's a great what did he say?
They need to be
they're not elite.
He's an idiot.
But really, they're good, not great. He was one step ahead of himself.
No, they're mediocre, not good.
They're a good program. They're not a great program. Michigan's a great program.
Well,
they're so really sucked because they always play these big games at home. Now they finally have a true road test. And like the stat said, he's played, 10 true road games, and he's lost by, 28.5 on the average margin. So, I don't think anybody's surprised.
Well, James Franklin, is the biggest choker in NC. He's the biggest choker in sports history. I have never seen anything like it. He is 0-11 in his career against ranked opponents on the road. 0-11. He hasn't even won once. Not once. That is time at either Vanderbilt or Penn State. And don't get me started with Trace McSorley. He was so bad. And for all the Heisman hype, he's the next Baker Mayfield. He has been awful all year long. Hasn't done crap. The game plan they drew up was just awful. They had about 10 quarterback runs? Right into a brick wall? What are they doing? And then
the RPO, that was their problem.
Their wide receivers can't catch. Their quarterback can't throw. Their defense isn't very good. Their coach sucks.
Tommy Stevens, he played pretty well.
How about what was that decision? What did they have, like a touchback or something? And there was a penalty, and they made him re-kick. And then they tried to give the guy a return and lost about 20 yards of field position. He has to be the dumbest coach I've ever seen. I would rather have Lovie Smith calling my game than him. I'd rather have Chris Ash calling my game than him. I'd rather have Tom Allen calling the game than him. With the amount of recruits he brings in, it's no excuse for Penn State to just suck like this.
I don't know if I'd call him a choker because he never played for a big game.
No. Harbaugh has been at Michigan for 3 years. James Franklin's been at Penn State for 5 years. You would think he'd have his program built up ready enough to beat a team like Michigan. You would think that with all the recruits he brings in, that they'd actually put up a fight against the team. It's ridiculous. He needs to go. McSorley needs to be benched because he's awful. It's ridiculous. The two choker combination. Mr. Choker, James Franklin, and his quarterback, Trace McSorley. One of the biggest choking quarterbacks of all time, too. All right, next topic. Ohio State struggles with 2-7 Nebraska. Is Ohio State in trouble?
Yes, Ohio State is in trouble. Now, I don't know anything about whether they're going to beat Michigan or not because I'm not sure if Michigan will find a way to lose the game or not. But Michigan is very clearly the best team in the conference. Whether or not they beat Ohio State is different. Whether or not Ohio State finds a way to beat Michigan State this week is different. But Michigan is the best team in this conference, and this week it proved it. Michigan beat Nebraska by about 80 points.
No. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Columbus. 5-point win. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing for. We'll see you in Columbus. Okay, yeah, we will see you in Columbus. I'll be picking Ohio State in that game. Of course you will. Doesn't matter. You're 12 points back already. No point start taking good pitch now. Well, if Ohio State loses to Michigan State this week, then it won't matter. So, as far as Big Ten goes. The game doesn't matter anymore, Chris? All right. Well, as far as the Big Ten goes, no, it doesn't. If they lose big. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know if trouble is the word I would use. They definitely haven't looked good. And we'll see. Maybe they're like Northwestern. They play to their competition. Or maybe they'll come out and actually look good. I think Haskins is blatantly overrated. What? That is ridiculous. I do. You can laugh and know you want. He's not going to show up. Ridiculous.
He's no Tate Martell.
McSorley when they play him. He's going to get shut down. So I don't know if it's trouble, but they don't look good, that's for sure. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've heard. Dwayne Haskins is arguably the best quarterback in the country. So dumber than saying Stidham is the best one? Percentage, 32 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Mike, I have a question.
What?
Will we be talking about Jared Stidham's historic comeback this weekend?
Historic. What did they come back from 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Historic.
No, we're not talking about that.
No.
Ohio State's in big trouble. They're not a good football team. I said it against Purdue. Purdue's not a great football team, and they just blew the doors off them. Ohio State, offensively, cannot. They were able to run the football against 2-7 Nebraska, but that's about the only team they've been able to run the ball on all year. Maybe against Rutgers. Their pass offense has been carrying them the entire year because they cannot run the football. Defense is not good. They have the talent to be good, but they're just not good right now. They can rush the passer, but they cannot tackle. And they cannot stop the run either. And Urban Meyer looks lost. He looks like he has something wrong with his brain out there. But they're in big trouble. I could see them going 8-4 this year.
I don't know about that. Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing right now.
No.
Second half.
Luke, do you have Illy Buck this year? Do you have Illy Buck?
What? Say that one more time.
Do you play Illy Buck this year?
What?
Do you play Illy Buck? Illinois. Do you play Illinois this year?
I don't think so.
Okay, I would have taken Illinois, but...
So would I. Illinois is a good team. No, our problem is that second half of our game last week, we started a little better. And I think we can carry that on. We start doing more zone runs. I think we'll be able to carry that on into future weeks.
Oh, really?
The ball. Control the pass game. The offense is an offensive problem. What the problem has been is we can't tackle. We cannot tackle anybody to save our lives. The best tackle we had was by a third-straight safety who came in after we got picked out for a BS targeting call.
Well, this is Urban Meyer's fault. Urban Meyer recruits all these white guys on defense. He doesn't understand. White guys aren't good on defense. Unless they go to Michigan State. That's the only time they can be good.
Just can't tackle.
Okay, are we good with this?
Yeah.
Michigan State defeats Maryland 24-3. Reactions.
They beat a better football team. But they are a better football team.
They beat a better football team?
Why are you so high on them? Michigan State. They were just playing out the better football team. That's all that happened. Yeah, but Maryland sucks.
Alex, you picked Maryland to win.
What?
And you...
Yeah, I did. Because I don't think Michigan State's that good.
Alex like, oh, you guys are stupid to pick Michigan State. Oh, Maryland.
Chris is praising them. Like they're like the second coming of Jesus. Michigan State is a good football team. No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not.
We have the... Okay, well, let me set you straight here. We have the number one defense in the Big Ten. We have...
Okay.
Our offense is set up for our defense.
No one's questioning the defense, especially the run defense.
Mark likes to win 16-13, so he likes to have a very conservative offense, as we saw in this game.
So then it doesn't set up your offense because you're playing conservative.
No, our offense sets up our defense. What he likes to do, he likes to get stops, then field goals, then stops, then field goals. Once in a while, a touchdown. And a bunch of...
What was the score from the other day?
What score?
What was the quote? Mark Antonio quote. They want to score less points.
No, he said he'd rather go with a guy who's more conservative, like Brian Lewerke, than a guy like Lombardi, even if they were going to score less points. Which is pretty stupid to me, but... Listen, if he wins, I don't care, but... They sucked against Michigan, and he'd at least get a couple first downs. The defense, nobody's questioning the defense, like Alex said. Under 100 yards of offense for Maryland total in this game.
They have the best run defense in the country.
They had 20.
What? Excuse me?
The best rush defense.
That's ridiculous.
What do you mean that's ridiculous?
Michigan is the best rush defense.
No, they do not.
Yes, they do.
No, Maryland got 22 yards on 26 carries. That's 0.9 yards per carry. And
Okay.
Michigan State has held their opponents to under 100 yards on the ground per game, because we have the best defensive line in the country, and it's not even.
That is absurd.
I meant to say in the conference. We have the best defensive line in the conference, and it's not even close.
Absurd.
No, name a better one.
Michigan.
No! Who does Michigan have up front?
Rashad Gary, Chase Winovich.
Chase Winovich is a defensive end. I'm talking about the defensive line, smartass.
Okay, fine. Rashad Gary and Michael Dwumfor.
Who? I've never heard of that person before.
Fantastic.
So we've got Roquan Williams, Mike Panashuk, Naquan Jones, three of the best in the country at stopping the run.
If you look up the top run defense, it's Michigan State and all of D1. It's not even a question.
Haven't played, and you
Like
haven't played.
10 yards.
Michigan has played.
Oh, really? We played Penn State, didn't we?
Oh, no, you didn't play Jonathan Taylor. You didn't play Notre Dame.
Okay. We played Higdon, the best he's been played all year long. He couldn't do anything the first three quarters against the defense.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean, what am I talking about? Michigan couldn't run the ball on us all game long, and they've been averaging like 300 yards rushing the entire year. Yeah.
So why did Karan Hickman go over 100 yards against you guys?
Because the defense was on the field for 40 minutes. And they cannot be stout for 40 minutes on the field.
No,
Because guess what? Our offense went 3 and out every time.
You either have to admit that Michigan State's defense is not the best rush defense in the country, in the conference, or you have to admit that Karan Higgins is the best running back in the conference.
No, he's not.
Those are true.
I will take Connor Hayward over him any.
He's the best running back in the conference, and it's not even close.
Okay, well, you put it.
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor sucks.
Jonathan Taylor has 400 more yards than Karan Higdon. 400 more yards than Karan Higdon. 400 more yards than Karan Higdon.
Wisconsin doesn't play anybody.
Oh my goodness.
They played you. And they're playing Penn State this week, and they played Iowa.
They didn't play Michigan State.
Okay. That doesn't make up the 400. That doesn't make up the 400-yard discrepancy. That doesn't make it up.
They're playing crappy teams like Illinois and Rutgers every
No,
week.
let's be honest. I could run behind the Michigan offensive line. They're just big and dominant.
That is ridiculous.
Anybody can run behind that offense.
The offensive line is far better.
No, put L.J. Scott behind that line. He'd have just as many yards. Put Connor Hayward behind that line. Put Dobbins behind that line. Mike Weber. Anybody would have just as many yards.
That's absurd.
It's not absurd. It's true.
Dude, Jonathan Taylor's a top 5 halfback in Division 1.
So tell me this, Mike. Why can Karan Hickman go up there and run for as much as he does? And whenever they put Chris Evans in the game, he runs for about 1 yard.
Well, Chris Evans is a fumble machine. Chris Evans sucks.
He does suck.
Okay?
Karan Hickman is just far better. Okay, I will be reporting 21 through 25 here.
No.
Washington, Auburn, Fresno State, Iowa State, and Auburn ranked at 25, at 21.
Auburn?
Wait. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Iowa 21, Iowa State 22, Fresno State 23, Auburn 24, Washington 25.
What?
Iowa still
What is with this committee? They are so bad. So bad. Washington, are you kidding me?
At 20, we have Penn State. 19, Texas.
What?
15, Michigan
What?
State. 17 is Boston College. 16 is Mississippi State.
All right, for crying out loud. Iowa. Why is Iowa ranked? Purdue deserves it a lot more than Iowa. Way more. Get Purdue in here.
Purdue's in here.
Get Arizona State in here. Get somebody who deserves it, please.
Well, they'll be going to the top 15 here in a second. Mississippi State is at 16, rounding out 16 through 25. Those are, they're going to be the highest ranked 3-loss team, Mississippi State.
Let's get back on track here because those are obviously terrible.
Okay, fine.
Oh, here we go. 15, Florida. 14,
What?
Mike's team, Syracuse.
What?
At 12, we have UCF, and 11, Kentucky.
Okay, NC State needs to be ahead of Syracuse. NC State!
Is ranked higher than the basketball team.
NC State!
The football team at Syracuse is ranked higher than the basketball team.
NC State beat Syracuse. How are they behind them?
How is UCF number 12?
Because UCF suck.
You're unbelievable.
Okay, let's get back on track. We'll go over this question again because it's a different week. Who will win the Big Ten West?
Northwestern.
Exactly. Northwestern. They have the tiebreaker over Purdue and Wisconsin, and they both have 2 losses. Iowa has 3 losses now. Northwestern's the clear front runner. What?
Was Northwestern ranked?
No.
There you go. Ohio State is at 10. What? Are they on crack? We passed Kentucky this week.
I'm shocked they don't have North Carolina or Wake Forest ranked.
Oh my God! They're lucky to be ranked then. They're lucky. No. We should be higher than 10. No.
Okay. What do you guys think about Alabama beating LSU 29-0? Especially Luke.
That was not Joe Burrow's fault. Do not blame it on Joe.
He put up a big 0 points.
Alabama's a better football team. They're a better football team than any team in the country right now. West Virginia at 9.
Actually no. I'll take 3 teams that have a shot to beat them. I would take Clemson any day over Bama right now.
Oh my God. Clemson looks really good.
Clemson, listen.
They played Louisville.
Yeah, exactly. They
Tough.
still look good.
Louisville, who's like number 118 in my rankings that I was making today.
They're terrible.
Anyway, so
Bring back Charlie Strong.
LSU pulled an LSU. Bama beat LSU again. Joe Burrow has
Washington State is at number 8.
way too low. They need to be top 4. Okay.
Wazoo!
Any more on this topic?
How is LSU this high? Because they're nasty.
Where's LSU?
is at 7.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's absurd. Absolute absurd.
Let's go to the let's start doing the picks. Let's start doing the picks. Chris is 8 games back because he sucks. Mike and Alex are 4 games back. Luke has slipped a little bit. Fresno State at Boise State. Big game.
I'm going with Boise State because they're nasty on their blue field.
This is why you're 8 games back.
I mean, Fresno is favored, but barely.
I'm taking Fresno State.
Boise State was ranked very high at the beginning of the year for a reason. They're at home. I'm going to take Boise State.
Okay, both of these teams have really bad losses. Boise State lost at Troy State. They also lost at What?
Who'd they lose to?
Troy. I call them Troy State. They lost at Troy, and they lost at Oklahoma State. Fresno State lost...
To Troy?
Yeah. Fresno State lost at Minnesota, which is a terrible loss. I don't even know how they're ranked. I mean, how come Utah State almost beat a ranked team, and they're not ranked, and Fresno State's ranked when they lost to Minnesota? What sense does that make? That makes no sense at all. With that being said, I'm taking Fresno State. Okay, Michigan State at Ohio State.
I'm really tempted to pick Michigan State in this game. It's at Michigan State.
Oh, my bad. It's at Michigan State.
I haven't seen any, over the last few years, for signs have pointed to Michigan choking in the end of the year. And in order for that to happen, Ohio State has to win this game.
No, Michigan
so
can still choke. Michigan can still choke to Ohio State and just not make the playoff.
Yeah, they're not going to lose to Indiana and lose the East, though. So or Rutgers.
Watch out for Rutgers.
All right. I'm taking Ohio State. They're going to show up in a big game here.
Alabama is ranked number 1.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Luke, who you taking?
Clemson is ranked number 2. Oh, let's sing Ohio's praise, and so do Alma raise. While our hearts rebounding. Notre Dame comes in at number 3. Joy with
Enough.
Let's go! Michigan's ranked number 4. At the highest with the roll.
God, enough! Okay. Luke has taken Michigan State with his pick. So Ohio State cannot run the ball. They're facing the number 1 ranked rush defense. And we get our number 1 cornerback, Josiah Scott, who is a third team All Big Ten, first team All Freshman, All American last year. We've been improving on defense every week, and we're now the number 1 defense in the Big Ten. So Ohio State's got a lot to contend with. As Urban Meyer said in his press conference, this is the best defense in the country. He said it himself, so it must be true. Will it be Lombardi or Lewerke? I don't care. I've got Michigan State. They're gonna win 20-10.
10 points.
Haskins will throw 3 picks.
Doing chocolate.
And we will turn that into 3 points with our great offense. Okay, Wisconsin at Penn State.
Wisconsin at Penn State.
Is that a whiteout game for Penn State?
Yes. Oh, no Alex Hornibrook in this game. He's in concussion protocol.
All right, then I'm taking Wisconsin.
What?
Okay. Thank you. We all appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm taking Penn State. You know they're going to... Yeah.
Mike.
What?
To your earlier point about claiming Michigan State's the best defense in the country.
I meant Big Ten. We're the best defense in the Big Ten.
Okay. Well, anyway, how many points did you go to Penn State?
What?
How many points did you go to Penn State?
10.
How many points did Michigan go to Penn State?
7.
Therefore, Michigan's defense is better.
No. Oh no, we can go the other way around. How many points did you give? How many points did you give up to Maryland at home?
14.
How many points did we give up to Maryland on the road?
I don't know. What was it, like 10?
3. We're 11. We're 11 points better. Plus 4. Got to add a field goal on the road, so we're 14 points better than your defense.
That is.
How do you feel about that?
How many points? How many did you go up to Northwestern?
Well, again, this is we're talking about right now. We're not talking about the past. Right now, we have the best defense.
Absurd.
Right now.
Actually, I'm predicting that Ohio State will torch the Michigan State defense this week.
No, that's like saying, oh, who has the best college football program? And then if you say Clemson, oh, but in 2010, Clemson wasn't very good. Well, we're talking right now. We're talking right now. Who has a better defense? It's Michigan State. And by the way, I'm taking Penn State. Luke, who did you take? Penn State, right?
Penn State.
Okay, fine. Michigan at Rutgers.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I mean, Rutgers is a tough place to play. Michigan is 40 points favorite.
You see one of the Rutgers guys got, arrested for, attempted murder?
Yep.
I will take Michigan to cover. Rutgers hasn't attempted to murder anybody in 15 years. Michigan will cover and win the game.
No, they won't cover. Because their defense is... Michigan's defense is shaky. They've been shaky all year long. I expect Rutgers to put up points.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all 3 points. I don't know why we're doing this game.
Because we have to.
This is going to be a 60-point win.
I've got...
So,
okay.
I'm taking Michigan. I'm taking Michigan.
I've got Michigan... Go ahead. Okay. I've got Michigan... I'm going to go with 52-35.
Oh, 35?
35.
This will be Arthur Stikowski's breakout game for Rutgers. He's thrown 3 touchdowns and 16 interceptions on the year.
So many points. So many points. It's going to give Rutgers so many possessions.
Yeah, Michigan's defense has just been shaky against teams like Rutgers in the past.
Moving on.
Then Michigan gave up 78 points to Rutgers a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. They got 0.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That was
bad. This game 53-0.
Oh, 52-35. Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Or no, Oklahoma State at Oklahoma.
You know what? The Big 12. They're continuing their quest. They're continuing their quest to get every team possible at 10-2.
No. Wait, no.
Anything can happen. Give me the Cowboys.
Anything can happen. The Cowboys are 1-11 in the last 12 years against Oklahoma.
No, give me the Cowboys.
Mike Gundy just cannot beat Oklahoma.
I'm going on a limb here and pick Oklahoma because Kyler Murray is going to put up 70 points on this terrible defense.
Taylor Cornelius is better than Kyler Murray.
No.
You're on crack.
They're different styles of quarterback. He is better than Mason Rudolph, though.
No, he's not.
Luke, who are you taking?
Which game?
Oklahoma State.
Oh, that's them. I'm going to take Oklahoma.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I'm going to take Oklahoma. But I'm going to go with final score of 70. I'm going to go 70-69. Oklahoma.
72-68. Oklahoma State.
Kentucky at Tennessee.
Kentucky, after that loss to Georgia, I expect them to go on a downward spiral. I'm taking Tennessee.
Okay.
Kentucky!
Yep, Tennessee sucks. Give me Kentucky.
Luke.
Kentucky!
Okay. I will also take Tennessee. Northwestern at Iowa. This game means nothing. I don't even know how Iowa is ranked. They're not even in the Big Ten West race, and they're ranked. That makes no sense.
I'll take Iowa. The game doesn't matter, but I'll take Iowa. They're a better football team.
Clayton Thorson is going to destroy this defense of Iowa. Give me Northwestern.
I heard
Northwestern.
I heard Pat Fitzgerald said Northwestern players will not be partaking in the wave after the first quarter.
Calm down.
In fact, they will be looking the other way. That's what I heard. Well, they'll be looking the other way to a loss because I expect Northwestern to go 7-5 and still make the Big Ten championship. I'm going to go with Iowa, but it's going to be a close game. Auburn at Georgia.
Well, this is obvious.
Do it.
This is an obvious pick. You got to take a look at when you pick these games, you got to look at who the better quarterback is for both these teams.
Well, Justin Fields is the best quarterback on the field.
Around Jake Fromm, Georgia has a better team. But after what we saw in a historic comeback from Jarrett Stidham this week against Texas A&M, a very good football team, I'm taking Auburn.
Well, according to Chris's logic, we're going to pick the team with the better quarterback, so I'm going to pick Georgia.
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to take the team with the better two top quarterbacks with Fields and Fromm. That's Georgia. You combine those two guys, then I'm still better.
Well, I mean, the question is, can Auburn's offense score enough points? That's the question, because they've really struggled to score all year. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Auburn cannot run the ball, and their quarterback's been shaky all year long. Struggle to throw the ball down the field. Texas A&M gave them the game last week. I expect Georgia to win by about 50 points. Give me Georgia. Maryland at Indiana. This is a big game.
What is this game?
What?
What's the game that we're picking?
Maryland at Indiana.
Maryland! I will take Indiana. All these teams suck, though, so.
No. Maryland's got a chance to be bowl eligible.
Give me Indiana. Maryland!
Who did Alex take?
Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a really tough one. Indiana's favored by 2.5 points. They got the coaching advantage in Tom Allen. Great coach. Great motivator. I can't even pretend to say that. I'm gonna roll with Indiana because they're at home. Virginia Tech at Pitt. This is for first place in the ACC Coastal.
Yeah, I'll go with Virginia Tech just because I cannot see Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. Here's the ACC championship for Pitt and Boston College, ACC final. So,
that would be amazing.
I will take Virginia Tech.
I will also take them because Pitt sucks.
What's the guy's name? Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett.
Oh my! Let me just add, they got blown out by UCF.
Okay. I don't know what your point is.
Well, Chris likes to hate on UCF, so I just thought I'd point that out.
UCF sucks.
Luke, who are you taking?
Pitt is good.
This game is at Heinz Field. And if you look at Pitt's 4 losses,
Pitt is good.
Pitt lost to undefeated and the reigning national champions UCF. That's not a bad loss. They lost to.
Pitt is good.
They played very well against Notre Dame on the road. That's a really tough place to play. And they lost to Penn State, but Penn State's just better than them. So they have 3 really good losses. Or 2 good losses.
Pitt is good.
Now, they did lose to 8-4 North Carolina, but we're just going to ignore that game because that was an outlier. That's an outlier.
Well, North Carolina's a good team.
No, I'm sure. I was hoping that game with UCF wouldn't have got postponed, so UCF could have
North Carolina would have destroyed them. Yeah, well, Pitt is good.
Like Al Horford.
Pitt had that guy go for over 300 yards on Virginia, who's also a top 20 rush defense. Virginia Tech struggles with pro-style offenses. You saw it last week with BC. Went right after him. Pitt also has a pro-style offense. Give me Pittsburgh. Give me Pat Narduzzi. Texas at Texas Tech.
Oh. The Texas choke is upon us. They've choked the last 2 weeks.
Have they played Kansas yet?
What?
Have they played Kansas yet? Because if they will, I'm taking Kansas.
No, they're not. But they choked against Oklahoma State. They choked against West Virginia. So they will choke again this week. And my boys from Texas Tech is Alan Bowman at the helm.
Cliff Kingsbury.
I'm taking Texas because Texas Tech does not play any defense.
In Cliff, we trust.
To go 6-6. But I'm taking Texas. They're due for a bounce back win.
Texas, you're saying Texas plays defense now?
No, I'm not saying they play much better defense. I'm saying they at least play some.
No, they don't. They don't play any defense. Wait, Luke took Texas Tech, right?
Texas is not back. They're no longer back. They were back. Now they're not back. But I'm still going to take them to Texas Tech.
Wait. Okay. If you look at this game, Texas Tech. Who has a better quarterback? Texas has a better quarterback.
That is ridiculous. That is absurd.
Better wide receiving core, Texas. I think Texas has better everything. I'm still gonna take Texas Tech because I need to get closer to Luke. So I'm gonna take Texas Tech.
Excuse me. Are the Browns looking at Tom Herman?
I think so.
They look at Cliff Kingsbury though.
I think Tom Herman's too controversial. I don't think there's any strip clubs in Cleveland for him to go to.
Only brothels.
Yeah, I guess he'd be okay with brothels, but he prefers the strip club. Okay, the game of the week, Clemson at Boston College.
All right. Boston College is going to win the ACC. In order to do that, they need to win this week. And most importantly, in the last week of the season, they need to be a good Syracuse team who is going to be Notre Dame.
No.
That said,
Syracuse is a fraud.
Give me the Eagles!
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Dude, Clemson's going to put 60 points on BC. I'm taking Clemson in a blowout.
That's absurd.
They're the hottest team in football right now.
That is absurd.
Besides Bama.
And Michigan.
And yeah.
Luke.
Mike, who'd you take?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm rolling with the Tigers.
All right, I'm going to go with BC on this one. I think A.J. Dillon's going to run all over them. A.J. Brown's nasty.
Yeah, they have a better quarterback.
Let me just remind you what Purdue did to Boston College earlier this year, and it was under 150 yards of offense. A.J. Dillon was held to under 50 yards rushing in a 34-3 blowout of Boston College. Just want to remind you of that. That's all.
No, I'm taking Boston College. Boston College beat Louisville. Clemson also beat Louisville. That means Boston College is as good as Clemson.
No. Well, Boston College lost to Purdue, and so did Ohio State, so that means Boston College is as good as Ohio State, right?
And that means Ohio State is as good as Clemson.
Exactly. All right, I was going to do it for this episode of the Big Four Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time.